الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين نبينا وحبيبنا محمد صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. أما بعد, so inshallah we will continue with our Tafseer. Last week we were the saying of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala وَلَوْ أَنَّمَا آمَنُوا وَاتَّقَوْا لَمَثُوبَةٌ مِّنْ عِندِ اللَّهِ خَيْرٌ لَوْ كَانُوا يَعْلَمُونَ. So today inshallah we'll move on to the next ayah, which is the saying of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا لَا تَقُولُوا رَاعِنَا وَقُولُوا انظُرْنَا وَاسْمَعُوا وَلِلْكَافِرِينَ عَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ. ما يود الذين كفروا من أهل الكتاب ولا المشركين أن ينزل عليكم من خير من ربكم الله يختص برحمته من يشاء الله ذو الفضل العظيم. So Ibn Kathir says نهى الله تعالى المؤمنين أن يتشبهوا بالكافرين في مقالهم وفعالهم. This is an ayah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala discussed the issue of tashabbuh. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He warned the believers from imitating the non-Muslims in their statements, in their sayings, and in their actions. A person is not supposed to imitate any of the non-believers in those attitudes which the non-Muslims are recognized with. Get it? Any attitude which the non-Muslim is recognized with, a Muslim is not supposed to be imitated. We will talk about this inshallah ta'ala in the near future بإذن الله تعالى. قال وذلك أن اليهود كانوا يعانون من الكلام ما فيه من تورية لما يقصده من التنقص عليهم لعنة الله. إذا أرادوا أن يقولوا اسمع لنا يقولون راعنا يورون بالرعونة كما قال تعالى من الذين هادوا يحرفون الكلم عن مواضعه ويقولون سمعنا وعصينا واسمع غير مسمع ورائنا ليا بألسنتهم مطعنا في الدين ولو أنهم قالوا سمعنا وأطعنا واسمع وانظرنا لكان خيرا لهم وأقوم ولكن لعنهم الله بكفرهم فلا يؤمنون إلا قليلا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is warning the believers not to imitate the non-Muslims in their statements and their actions. And what happened was that the Jew, they used to come to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and say certain words which they meant by them disrespect against Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But they use tawriya. They don't come straight forward and talk. They use tawriya. Tawriya means to use a word that has two meanings. One of them is far and the other one is very close. And the one that you're speaking to will understand the closest one. But unfortunately you meant the farthest one. That's tawriya. According to the best opinion of the scholars, this is nothing but a lie. It is also impermissible for it to be practiced except in the case of somebody who is oppressed. You are oppressed and your right cannot be taken back to you unless if you do the tawriya, then the tawriya is permissible for you to make it. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam made it. Some of his companions also made it. And in most of the places where lying is legalized by the Sharia, you'll see that the Sharia is talking about tawriya, not the normal lie that we see. So tawriya is haram. And people do it, that's why the Prophet ﷺ reminded us about that. Sometimes in the mahkamah, a person will try to deceive the judge. They will mention something other than that which is in their heart. So that's why the Prophet ﷺ, because of this, he said, يَمِينُكَ عَلَى مَا يَصَدِّقُكَ بِهِ صَاحِبُكَ. They said a judge was trying to decide a case, somebody's land was taken by another person. They went to the court. And the judge asked the criminal, "Is it your land?" He said, "Yes." So he said, "Let's go to the place and see what really happened." When they went to the place and the judge asked him to swear by Allah, because the other one doesn't have evidence. Although it is his, but he doesn't have evidence to support his case. And in this case, if there is no evidence, we have to go back to who? The accused person. You have the claimant and you have the accused. The accused person has to swear by Allah that this thing belonged to him. So the Prophet so the judge asked him, "Would you swear by Allah SWT that this land belongs to you?" He said, "Yes." What did he say? He said, "I swear by Allah that what my feet steps on belongs to me." What did he mean? His shoes. But the people and the judge, they understood what? The land. Because this is our case. Who is going to remember the shoes? But he says, he swear by Allah that the land, is he lying? According to him, he's not lying. So the Prophet ﷺ detects these kind of people. He said, "Yaminuka ala ma yusaddiquka bihi sahibuk." You're supposed to be swearing by Allah SWT in the court. That swearing by Allah should be based on the topic. Because this is the only thing that your brother who is complaining against you will trust you if he knows you are swearing for this. You don't swear for something else. So that's why Tawriya, if you are not oppressed, is haram Islamically to make Tawriya. But if somebody oppresses you, you're trying to bring your right, you can make Tawriya. You can hide something, which you don't mean it, and you know some people understand something. One of our neighbors from Sudan, he said, somebody lost his shoes in the masjid. Okay? This is a correct Tawriya. He lost the shoes in the masjid. And then he come to the masjid, he told people, "Wallahi, the one who stole my shoes, he either bring it or I'm going to do what my father did." What did his father do? Nobody knows, you know. So the criminal, alhamdulillah, was there. He got scared because he doesn't know who is his father, you know. And in Sudan you have everything, you know. Awliya, true and everything, you know. They ask somebody, "Are you wali?" He says, "Shway, shway." Yeah, your right kind of wala is a bit, you know. So he says, either you bring it or I'm going to do what my father did. Tomorrow, according to the story, that's from my neighbor, I can give you the sanad, you go and confirm it. He said, tomorrow the criminal brought the shoes. He got his shoes. And then they asked him, somebody asked him, "Oh, what exactly your father did?" He says, actually, he was walking without shoes. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is good. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is warning the believers from following the same way of the non-believers. When they come to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, they use a word that has other meanings, but they meant the bad one. Since they know that they think that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam will not discover. So some of the believers might imitate them in the words because the word has a good meaning. If you see it, you'll be thinking that yes, they meant the correct one. But in reality, they do not mean that one. They mean the wrong one. So Allah SWT told the believers not to imitate them in that. He says, لا تقولوا رأينا. قال وكذلك جاءت الأحاديث بالإخبار عنهم لأنهم كانوا إذا سلموا إنما يقولون السلام عليكم والسلام هو الموت. We have evidence from the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, from the history that shows that the Jews, when they reached the Muslims, the Prophet ﷺ, instead of saying Assalamu alaikum, they said what? Assalamu alaikum. You know, when you say it quickly, it looks like Assalam. They said, Assalamu alaikum ya Rasulullah. وَلِهَذَا أُمِرْنَا أَن نَرُدَّ عَلَيْهِمْ وَعَلَيْكُمْ. That's why Ibn Kathir says we are commanded by the Sharia to reply them with what? وَعَلَيْكُمْ. He said to them, وَعَلَيْكُمْ. The Prophet ﷺ was with them. He was with Aisha radiallahu anha, and the Jews came. As usual, they said, Assalamu alaikum ya Rasulullah, wa Assalamu alaikum ya Muhammad, since they don't believe in it. When Aisha heard, she said, wa alaykum assalam, wa la'anatullahi wa ghadabu. She said, may the curse of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be upon you. She said, may death also be upon you, and the curse of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be upon you, and the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be upon you. Do they deserve that? Yes, because Allah says, لُعِنَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا مِن بَنِي إِسْرَائِيلَ عَلَى لِسَانِ دَاوُدَ وَعِيسَى بْنِ مَرْيَمَ. They cursed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They deserve. They cursed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Jews. And also, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَغَضِبَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِمْ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is angry with them. His wrath was on them. But this maqam is not maqam for this, is maqam da'wah. That's why when she said that, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Aisha, what's wrong with you? What happened? She said, Ya Rasulullah, didn't you hear what they said? Didn't you hear what they said? The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, I also didn't you hear what I said? They said, Assalamu alayka. And I said, Wa alaykum. And you too. Very simple, very polite. But if you ask good for me, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant you the same. If you ask evil for me, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you the same. And then the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam advised the Ummah and advised Aisha for being rifq, for being observing the rifq. Rifq is what? Leniency. That's why he says, مَا كَانَ الرِّفْقُ فِي شَيْءٍ إِلَّا زَانَهُ وَمَا نُزِعَ مِنْ شَيْءٍ إِلَّا شَانَهُ. Leniency has never been adopted and placed in something except that it makes it beautiful. When you remove it from something, it makes it ugly. That's Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam in da'wah. We have to also accommodate and adopt this method of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam if we really want to succeed in our da'wah. So the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, you should reply them with what? Wa alaykum. So if they are saying good to you, you also reply them with good. قال وإنه يستجاب لنا فيهم ولا يستجاب لهم فينا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will accept our invocation, and He will not accept that invocation against us. Whatever we say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will accept it, and theirs will not be accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. قال والغرض أن الله سبحانه وتعالى نهى المؤمنين عن مشابهة الكفار قولا وفعلا. The objective of this ayah is that every Muslim should know that it is strictly prohibited Islamically for him to imitate the non-believers. To imitate the non-believers. What kind of imitation are we talking about? Any form of imitation in doing that which they are the only one who are known to be practicing that. This is what is called imitation. Not in doing something which we share. There are things which we share. You don't see it on somebody and then you see kufr on him. This is not imitation. You get the idea? Otherwise, most of the thing we do, we have to stop doing that. Because almost everything Muslim is doing, you find some non-Muslim also are doing that. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us good. So he says, the maqsad for this ayah is to remind the believers that they are not supposed to imitate the non-Muslims. فَقَالَ يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا لا تقولوا راعنا وقولوا انظرنا واسمعوا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, O you who believe, do not say ra'ina وقولوا انظرنا. Unzurna is the other word for ra'ina, but they intended what? Ar-ru'una, drawing. Something that is so bad, and a very disrespectful word said to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Unzurna means just give us a time to grasp that which you say so that we can understand it properly. Listen to us give us some time, give us some time. So they use the word, understand us, They cannot use those words which are very straightforward. They use the other one. And they are intending the wrong definition and meaning. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to the believers, don't use any word that carries this type of meaning. It has a good meaning and the evil one. You have to look for other alternatives. Allah says, وَقُولُ انظُرْنَا. You should say to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, give us time, wait for us, listen to us, give us respite until we grasp that which you say. وَلِلْكَافِرِينَ عَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ. And those non-believers, they have nothing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala except a severe punishment. A very painful punishment from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to afflict them. وروى الإمام أحمد عن ابن عمر رضي الله عنهما قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم بعثت بين يدي الساعة بالسيف حتى يعبد الله وحده لا شريك له وجعل رزقي تحت ظل رمحي وجعلت الذلة والصغار على من خالف أمري ومن تشبه بقوم فهو منهم. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said in this hadith of Abdullah ibn Umar, collected by Imam Ahmad radiallahu anhu, Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhuma, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. He said that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, بعثت بين يدي الساعة بالسيف. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent me before the day of judgment. بين يدي الساعة means before the day of judgment, بالسيف, with a sword. That means I come during the days where jihad is legal. The scholars have mentioned that long ago it used to be impermissible for people to fight their enemies. But then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala legalized it. Starting from the time of the Jews, the early ones. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala legalized it upon them. And then in the time of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, it is completely legalized. Before they used to fight, but they are not supposed to take the spoils of the war. They cannot take the ghanima. They have to fight. If they finish, they just put it in a place and wait and see. If a fire comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and take it, that means their jihad is accepted. Until the time, one of the prophets of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ibrahim, he fought an enemy and he was about to make a defeat. And then the sun was about to set, so he talked to the sun. He says, Anti Ma'mura, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded you. We are also commanded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This event has two interpretations. One of them is that he was speaking to the sun and asking the sun to stay and to wait, not to set, because they did not pray Asr. There are some scholars who said he was worrying about the prayer, because if the prayer finished, he would be blamed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Some scholars said no, he wasn't asking the sun to stop moving because of not praying, but he was doing that because he was a Jew. Yusha ibn Nun was the closest student to Musa alayhi salam. So he was a Jew, and according to the law that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made, that the Jew cannot work on Saturday. They don't do anything on Saturday. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَاسْأَلُوا عن القرية التي كانت حاضرة البحر إذ يعدون في السبت إذ تأتيهم حيتانهم يوم سبتهم شرعا ويوم لا يسبتون لا تأتيهم. So they are not supposed to be doing anything on Saturday, and he was fighting them on Friday. The battle was on Friday. If the sun set, what does that mean? Saturday begins, and he has to stop everything. During the battle of Ahzab, this is one of the proposals of one of them. He told them, Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam knows that today is Saturday, and he knows that we don't fight on Saturday. And for sure Rasulullah is going to keep down his weapons because he knows that the Jew are not going to fight him. He said, let us just break that law and go and fight him. So the people says, you forgot what happened to our predecessors? They were turned by Allah into pigs and monkeys. We will not do that. So they said because of this, he was asking the sun to stop. And he was the only prophet, according to the authentic narration, that the sun stopped for him. That narration that says it happens with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I never come across an authentic narration that says that. So you might find some scholars mentioning that the sun ruddat lin Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That, to my knowledge, according to the authentic narration, it was just for Yusha ibn Nuh, the prophet after Musa alayhi salam. So it stopped from moving. He prayed, he finished the battle after everything, and he said, so that he can accomplish his mission. So after they finished, they brought the ghanima that they took from the enemy. They put it as usual in the place, waiting for the fire to come, but it doesn't come. So he said, Fikum al-ghulul. Fikum ghulul. Al-ghulul is to take from the booties of the world, the properties that you get from the enemies before it get distributed. That's ghulul. You know. So he said that is ghulul in you. He says, every leader of a qabilat should come and do bay'ah. Give me allegiance of oath and shake my hand. So they have a lot of tribes. You know, these are Jews. They also have this strong tribalism. So they have every leader of a tribe should come and shake my hand. So they kept on coming. You know. And what happened was, one of them, his hand got stuck with the prophet. He says, "Fatubayani qabilatuk." He said, your tribe should come. Because they are the only one. So they came at last, they got the hands of two men among them, they got stuck. They asked them to bring that which they took. They brought a head of a cow of gold. A cow head made by gold. So that's too much. But in those days, they can't benefit from it at all. They have to keep it in that place and then the fire comes. So when they put it, the fire comes and burn it. That means right now Allah SWT will accept their jihad. In the time of the Prophet ﷺ, this is removed. They have a right to utilize that which is given to them by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why Rasulullah ﷺ said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes ghanima halal for us, and it used to be prohibited upon the past. So he says, Allah has sent me with a sword. And subhanAllah, they mentioned that some of the Jews, they confirmed this, you know. I've read in Suratul Nabawiyyah Sahiha, Sheikh Nasir, that one of their leaders, he converted to Islam and he was reminding people that they have to be patient because they know in their book it is mentioned that Rasulullah will come with a dhabh in them, slaughtering in them. They already know that. They killed him after that. They know the truth, but they hide it. Just accept it. You know that it is written that he will come like this, and you have all the features. They know. But why was he rejected? Because he wasn't from the Jews. He was from the Arabs. But that also was just an excuse, you know. They would not accept him even. Did they accept Musa? They did not accept Musa. Did they accept Isa? They did not accept. One of them was right when he told one of the Muslims nowadays, when he told him, yeah, you said everything good about Islam. How come you do not accept Islam? Okay, I heard this from one of the du'at. He said his Jewish friend was telling him this. When he told him, how come you don't accept Islam? He said he laughed. He told me, come on. Moses also was rejected by us. You think we'll accept somebody from other people? Says that. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala called them maghdub alayhim, because they have the knowledge and they rejected it. Contrary to the Christian. Christians are ignorant, up to date. Up to date, I'm telling you. Muslims read Bible more than them. I heard one of them was saying in a debate, he was telling the Muslim, you know, the problem of Islam is that you have jihad in your religion. Okay? And this guy is supposed to be the priest, the pastor, you know, the one who is supposed to be memorable. Nowadays our scholars, almost all of them memorize the Quran. Almost all of them memorize, except somebody who deceives himself and calls himself a scholar, but he did not memorize Quran yet. But almost all of them memorize the Quran. Bring one amongst them who memorize the Bible. I don't think it does exist, including the Pope. I don't think if you make some quotations, you'll be able to fix it. If you're wrong, you know. So he told him, you know, you Muslims, you agree with this. In Islam, you have this fighting and killing. So the Muslim told him, Jesus also preached jihad. He said, where is that? You know. found it so interesting. You know, when you're defeated, sometimes you scratch your back head. Wallah, that was the thing he did. You know? He told the Muslims, where's that? The Muslim says, he asked him, open the page. And here, subhanAllah, he has to take the Bible and open. He has to tell him which ayah is that. So he opened, and then he asked him, read it. SubhanAllah, if you can see the way he was reading, he was shocked. When he seen the Bible, Jesus is saying, Isa alayhi salam, supposedly, you know, this is what they said, he said. He said, bring my enemy, at least the Prophet ﷺ meet them at the battlefield, right? And fight them and capture them and free some of them also sometimes and treat them in a nice way. But what they said, he said, bring my enemy here and slay them, I mean, slaughter them in front of me, you know. Bring all of the enemy and slaughter them. Rasulullah did not do that. So when he read it, the Muslim looked at him, he said, you do not know that this exists in the Bible. So we read the Bible, we know what is in the book more than that. These are the Christians, up to date. So that's why if you have somebody who has wisdom and he knows how to make da'wah, I'm telling you, the one who is serious in Christianity, many people, they are converted to Islam when they start being serious in Christianity. Because they will see the truth now. Okay? You might face difficulty in convincing the common person, but you will not face difficulty sometimes in convincing somebody who is really dedicated to the church. And recently we have somebody converted to Islam. And what destroyed, I mean, his appetite from what you call the church, it is because he sees his bosses in the company. They are the speaker holders speaking. These are the awliya according to them, you know. But he says, I know what they do in the company, you know. And when I see them, they're holding the mic. What is that? SubhanAllah. Accepted Islam recently. We have to tell him what is there in their book, you know. And this is very dedicated person to the church. But we have to tell him, yeah, you know, in the Christianity this exists. It was like, are you sure? Yes, it does exist. SubhanAllah. That's why Allah SWT called them what? Dallun. Look at the description. Allah SWT choose the description that fits each and every one of them. The Jews are called Maghdub alayhim. The Christian, Dallun. Maghdub alayhim because they know the truth and they hide it. Allah says, Musa told them, Lima tu'thunani, and then, وَقَدْ تَعْلَمُونَ. You know I'm from Allah SWT, but still you harm me. But Isa alayhi salam, the Christian even worship, and the Jew put this, and they agree with that. They invented a lot of innovations in their religion. Allah says, وَرَهَبَانِيَةً ابْتَدَعُوهَا وَرَهَبَانِيَةً ابْتَدَعُوهَا مَا كَتَبْنَاهَا عَلَيْهِمْ إِلَّا ابْتِغَاءَ رِضْوَانِ اللَّهِ فَمَا رَعُوهَا حَقَّ رِعَايَتِهَا. They are the one who brought the Rabbani. It doesn't exist. But unless you are the one who invented a system, preserve it. Even that one also they couldn't make it. You know. How many times you have weaknesses in their Rahbaniyya? People who are criminals are committed. Who are convicted. So these are the Christianity. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide all of them to the truth. So the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, I have sent with what? With sayf. حتى يعبد الله وحده لا شريك له. Until the time everyone worships Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with no associating partner to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But that doesn't mean the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is forcing people to accept Islam. He did not do that. Allah says, لا إكراه في الدين. لا إكراه في الدين. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam did not force people like that. If you look at the vast majority of the battles of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, they are mainly based on defense. If you read properly the history, you will detect this. That's why the scholars mention that the objectives of jihad are three. The first one is you protect Islam and yourself. Okay? The second one is to protect the Muslim brothers who are punished by the enemies, wherever they are, to release them and liberate them. The third one is to remove the obstacles, because land and the earth belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are co-owners of the lands. And if we go more specific, it belongs to the believers. إِنَّ الْأَرْضَ لِلَّهِ يُورِثُهَا مَن يَشَاءُ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ وَالْعَاقِبَةُ لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. To remove the obstacle. That's why Muslims don't just go and fight everyone. Look at the words of the Prophet ﷺ. Who are they fighting? Those obstacles that are considered to be criminals, that they're stopping people from receiving the truth. That's why in the battlefield, you're not allowed to kill a woman. True? Yes. Rasulullah ﷺ saw a woman being killed in the battlefield, and she was kafirah. The Prophet ﷺ was very angry with that issue. He says, who killed this woman? And he says, Ma kanat hadhihi litaqatil. This woman did not come to this place to fight. Which means we just fight who fight. You don't kill the old people. You don't kill the monk in the churches. You don't kill the young children. You just fight those people who are fighting. Allah is a very complete, the most complete system is the system of Islam. SubhanAllah. You find the people being mutilated after the battle, and the Rasulullah ﷺ will tell the believers, do not do that with the kuffar. They did. We don't mutilate. The Prophet ﷺ said, وَلَا تُمَثِّلْ. Don't mutilate. You kill. And also when you injured a person, they punish. That's why they ask Imam Ahmad, if a person is captured by the enemy, what must you do? He fights, or just let them go? He said, no, fight until death is better for him. Because the punishment is so high. In Islam, we don't have this. When a person is captured, we respect. He's captured, he has his own punishment, but we don't go to that. Punishing him and torturing him. No, this one is unacceptable Islamically. That's why when somebody talks about slavery in Islam, tell him to read Islam properly. Tell him to read Islam properly. Look at the battles of the Prophet ﷺ and ask that criminal who plot against Rasulullah and met Rasulullah with the intention of killing him, and Rasulullah got him at last. If the choice is given to him to be killed or to be enslaved, what do you think he will choose? With no doubt he will choose to be slave. Unless he lives, maybe he might run away. And when he comes to Islam, he will find out that slavery actually doesn't exist in the way people understand. The first time in the history where a slave is considered as a brother. Go and read history and see who are the slaves. Up to date, those slaves who are enslaved by the criminals who are just talking to us, talking against us, but they also have the slaves, We hear from the news, and the news is everywhere. You can, from them, in their own places of worship, they have, subhanAllah. But they come and talk against us. Something that happened long ago, they still hold us accountable of that, to confuse people. Slave is what? Call a brother. The Prophet ﷺ said, Ikhwanukum, he called them Ikhwan. He said, do not ask them to do something which is beyond their capability. And when you ask them to do something, subhanAllah, this is a slave. An Arab person before Islam will not understand this. What is this? Rasulullah ﷺ is saying that if you ask him to do something, cooperate with him to finish it. SubhanAllah. He said, do not eat food except that which you are given him. Do not eat different from that which you give him. Let them eat that which you are eating. Let them wear that which you're wearing. Nobody understood this. And he stopped people from oppressing the slaves. Abu Mas'ud was beating his slave, and the Prophet ﷺ told him, Abu Mas'ud, you should know that the power of Allah SWT over you is far greater than your power over this person. And this is a slave. Abu Mas'ud said, I do not know when does the stick fell from my hand. I couldn't hold it because the word is so powerful. And Rasulullah ﷺ looked at him, he says, Ama wallahi. When he looked at him, and then, Abu Mas'ud said, I heard somebody talking to me. When I looked behind, I saw Rasulullah, and then he told me that word. He said, I couldn't hold the whip. And then I told him, Ya Rasulullah, huwa hurrun li wajhillah. He said, Ya Rasulullah, he is free for the sake of Allah. And then the Prophet ﷺ said, Wallahi, if you do not utter this word of freedom, you will definitely go to hell. SubhanAllah, this is a slave. He says, if you don't utter the word of freedom, you will definitely go to hell. These are slaves in Islam, Islam is a religion that says, if you get into trouble in some tragedy, there are some problems you have in Islam. You cannot go out of it if you don't free a slave. Do you know that? And then somebody will come and tell Islam is a religion of slavery. Even to marry a slave is prohibited in Islam. Do you know that? A free person cannot marry a slave. Why? Because according to the law, if you have a woman that is slave, every single child she has belongs to who? The master who owns her. So that child also is going to be slave. So we're going to be producing more slaves, and Islam doesn't want that. Because a slave cannot be productive in the community. It's very difficult for them to be productive. It's very difficult for them to maintain their righteousness because they have a lot of responsibilities on them. And this pressure also of the community and the humiliation and disrespect, Islam doesn't want that. So you have certain things when you do them in Islam, you cannot go out. You have to look for a slave and free it first. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will accept you. There's a lot to be said, I'm telling you, concerning this matter. As I was saying, even to marry is haram. As a free person, you cannot marry. Except if you fulfill two conditions. Number one, you are afraid of zina. Allah said, ذَلِكَ لِمَنْ خَشِيَ الْعَنَةَ مِنْكُمْ. This is only for somebody who is afraid of zina. He knows that if he doesn't go for marriage, he will commit zina. In this case, he can marry even from the slaves. To avoid this. The second condition is he cannot afford marrying a free woman. For instance, you are living in a place where marriage is very expensive. Women are made like cars. How much you buy the car? Rolls? Something like that, who cares? In some places like that, I'm telling you. It's like buying and selling. And this is what people don't understand. Marriage is not transaction. That you buy and sell. You're going to make that person look at your daughter like a property he bought in the market. And believe it or not, he will not have that much of respect on her. And he will not tolerate. And imagine you make it so little. The mahar. That person, whenever the wife does something wrong, he's doing something wrong also. Both of them are patient with each other. Whenever she does something wrong, the first person to remember is who? The kindness of the parent. And he will live with her also as what? As a partner, not as a property. So we have to pay attention to this. People are suffering. In some countries it's not easy. You have to provide 200,000, 150,000. I don't know. What is he going to do? And then after a few days, divorce. Yeah, because marriage, you look at it from far distance, it's like what? Jannah, right? Count every single second that left for the marriage, right? After it happens, white hair start to grow in. It's responsibility. It's responsibility, I'm telling you. All of this Jannah that you're remembering, if you don't base the marriage on some good foundation, you're not going to see it. You will see a lot of kawabis, nightmare. Ya Allah, I'm not distracting you, You can go ahead, but I just want you to be prepared, Increase the amount of your patience before it happens, and do not exaggerate during the marriage. I was talking about khula in the class today. Somebody was asking me, I say, yeah, that's sometimes also the reason why the sadaq should be very little. Because if the husband doesn't like the wife, what does he do? Salam. If the husband doesn't like his wife, what does he do? Divorce. Shukran. Shukran. So, you guys are all new, right? Or you don't like to hear the word divorce, right? So if the husband doesn't like the wife, he divorces. But what if the wife doesn't like him? We tell her, you have to be patient. Any other way out? No. You have already married and you're going to stay with him forever. That's similar to what? Christianity. I'm not saying about the religion of Allah, because there is no religion of Allah called Christianity. But in Christianity, they said there is no divorce. One of those criminals, he says, we in the Christian, we are not supposed to divorce. When we marry, khalas, finish. Innaha huna qaidun. He says, no divorce, No, also marrying another wife. He said, no, all of this. He said, that's why you have to choose the best at the first place. So subhanAllah, the Muslim debated with him. He said it looks like the best was not sufficiently enough for him. They caught him twice with a prostitute woman in the hotel, and he's one of the best priests, pastors in there. And he came in the world in front of everyone and cried. We saw him crying there. It's all nifaq. And he repented, apologized to everyone, to the church, to his wife, to every single person, But then tomorrow also they got him again in another place. What are you talking about, So that's why they say in their religion, no divorce. Do they divorce? Yes, they do. In their religion, no divorce, but they still divorce. If you're in the church, you don't marry because you're so perfect. Did you read news nowadays? Every day the Pope is warning the self-corrupted people in the churches. Yeah, Allah SWT created you with nature, and you said that nature is, no, you are so infallible, you are saint, you don't need to marry because you are people of Allah SWT. And then, what do you do in the church? May Allah SWT guide them to Islam. So when the woman doesn't like the husband, what does she do? Divorce him. Then no marriage will remain, Because Allah keep the marriage, keep the divorce at the hand of who? The man. Why was that? Because if we are to be honest to ourselves, women, they're more emotional than the brothers. Okay. And who suffers marriage? The expenses of the marriage usually, according to the vast majority of the cultures. Man or woman? Man. That's why when he divorced, if he has common sense, he thinks a lot. He spent a lot to get this marriage. He has to be very careful because if you lose this sister, for him to get another one, another headache. He thinks, think. But she is matluba. She's at home. If she get divorced, but even Allah, somebody's going to come and look for her hand, and she goes. If you divorce, who will come to your house? Nobody. So Allah SWT gave them a way out. They also, when they don't like it, they have a way out. What is that? They call it khulu. She pays him back the mahar. Now you see one of the benefits of the mahar to be little, right? She wants to get rid of him. They went to the court and the judge says, okay, we accept the khulu. You have to pay back the mahar. And subhanallah, the mahar is 1 million ringgit. The judge says Islamically khulu means to pay the mahar back. And the mahar is 1 million ringgit. And then the divorce will happen. When? And this sister, let's say she is amongst the Ayyuhal Mala. No, Ayyuhal Nas. You have Ayyuhal Mala, this is rich. You have Ayyuhal Nas. Ayyuhal Nas means Allah Musta'an. When does she get divorced from this person? Never. She has to go back home and sit down and wait for the qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to come. Maybe some matar. Or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will have her, the man will change his mind and divorce. But wallahi, this is just a little, But the benefits that are there inside, minimizing this, they're far greater than this. I'm just giving you one of the examples that comes to my mind today. So back to the narration. The Prophet ﷺ said, وَجُعِلَ رِزْقِي تَحْتَ ظِلِّ رُمْحِي. And Allah SWT made my rizq under the shade of my sword. It means the Prophet ﷺ is getting his rizq from what? You go to the battle, right? What did he get? The ghanima, right? The Prophet ﷺ get his rizq from that. And then he says, وَجُعِلَ الذُّلُّ وَالصَّغَارُ عَلَى مَنْ خَالَفَ أَمْرِي. And Allah SWT placed the disrespect and humiliation and removed the prestige on that person who goes against the Amr Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Wallahi, we have to be very careful. It's a very strong word. Going against the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and knowing that this is the sunnah is equal to what? Is equal to inviting disrespect in your life in this dunya. وَجُعِلَ الذُّلُّ وَالصَّغَارُ عَلَى مَنْ خَالَفَ أَمْرِي وَمَنْ تَشَبَّهَ بِقَوْمٍ فَهُوَ مِنْهُمْ. And the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever imitates a people, he is one of them. وَمَنْ تَشَبَّهَ بِقَوْمٍ فَهُوَ مِنْهُمْ. مَنْ تَشَبَّهَ بِقَوْمٍ فَهُوَ مِنْهُمْ. This is narration also in Abu Dawud. Whoever imitates a people, he is one of them. Sheikh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah says the least you can say concerning this matter is to say that التشبه بغير المسلمين, التشبه بالكفار, the least you can say about this case is that this is one of the major sins. That's the least you can say. It's not makruh, cannot be makruh, because Rasulullah says if you imitate them, you're one of them. Who are they? Kuffar. He says if you imitate them, you're one of them. One of who? Kuffar. So he says the least we can say, we don't call him kafir, but we tell him you're committing a major sin, and a person has to repent immediately. So in Islam, generally a person is not supposed to imitate the non-believers, and he is not supposed to imitate the wrongdoers, the gangsters, and the bad ones, and he is not supposed to imitate the opposite gender. The male is not supposed to imitate the female, and the female is not supposed to imitate the male. Even if she is wearing something that belongs to the husband. Your wife said, I want to wear your clothes. How? Or she wants you to wear her clothes. She wants you to... So, anyway, so... I don't know how to put it, but... So one of them wants the other one to imitate that. Can she do that? Some people might say, but this is just between them. No, this is the right of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. She went to dress like the kuffar in something which only them do that. Somebody says, but this is just between her and the husband. No, this is not the right of the husband, this is the right of Allah. She's not supposed to do it even in secret, because Allah doesn't want to see her in that dress. Allah doesn't want to see her in that way. So that's why whatsoever is designed for the brothers alone, a sister cannot wear it even if she's doing that for her husband. The same goes to the husband also. Whatever is designed for the sisters, he's not supposed to dress in that way, even in secret where there is nobody who sees it. Everyone should maintain his own attitude and the nature in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created him. So at-tashabbuh is to imitate a person in something which he is recognized with. Not to do something which everyone is doing. There are things which kuffar are doing and Muslims also are doing. So I don't do them because I want to imitate them. Do you get an idea? A lot of things nowadays we share. Okay, we wear the shirt. Is it halal? Yes. But the kuffar are wearing that. Yeah, because this is not known. A person will not see you wearing the small thing and see a kafir. You know. But if you wear that one that is known to be for them to be wearing in the churches, you know, whenever a person sees you who will remember kuffar, it is haram upon you to wear that one. Do you get it? Somebody a sister wants to buy a chain. What do you call the thing you wear? The necklace. Okay. So she wants to buy. The best one she sees in the shop is the one with the cross. It's so fancy, so nice. And then she bought it. Her mufti told her, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ الْأُمُورُ بِمَقَاصِدِهَا. As long as your intention is good. See, you have people like that in this life. You have people like that. You tell even to take riba. Sometimes some people say you can take riba as long as your intention is good. The point is to have good objective, you know. Maqasid. Nowadays maqasid are twisted, you know, completely. As long as your intention is good, it's okay. Who is that dumb person that will tell you my intention is not good? Everything is going to be halal because innamal a'malu bi an-niyyat. A person will commit sin, he will tell you innamal a'malu bi an-niyyat. My intention is not like that. Does he believe in that? Salam. Does he believe in that? No. He just believes in that when it comes to Sharia and following his desire. Go and smack him. And then he asks you why. He tells, Wallahi, I never intend to harm you. I thought nothing will happen. Innamal a'mal bin niyyat. My intention is to benefit you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us to the truth. So let us just focus on this hadith and remember it is a very important hadith said by Abdullah ibn Umar. بعثت بين يدي الساعة بالسيف حتى يعبد الله وحده لا شريك له وجعل رزقي تحت ظل رمحي وَجُعِلَ الذُّلُّ وَالصَّغَارُ عَلَى مَنْ خَالَفَ أَمْرِي وَمَنْ تَشَبَّهَ بِقَوْمٍ فَهُوَ مِنْهُمْ. Okay, I will stop here, inshallah. I plan to have a short lesson. Unfortunately, I made it long as usual, so I will have a few questions and then run, inshallah.
Sheikh, if a woman dresses inappropriately, like the way the kuffar do, can this hadith be applied?
Of course. مَنْ تَشَبَّهَ بِقَوْمٍ فَهُوَ مِنْهُمْ. Yeah. That takes priority, actually. Cannot. She says, can you do tawriyah to a parent?
Especially since they're far away and we don't want to worry. For example, if you're sick, there's nothing we can do. We tell them we're okay. Sometimes we say something, we tell them before this meal.
That's a lie. You should tell them the truth. When they ask you, you should tell them the truth. Get it? You're not okay, tell them you're not okay. If they ask. You're okay, tell them you're okay. You can only lie to your wife, do tawriyah to your wife, if she doesn't want to understand. You try your best, nothing left except when you do the tawriyah, then you go for that. Parents are not included. Because they are not allowed actually to use it. Even if somebody donated the hair, they're not supposed to use it. You should be patient, because that's cheating, Islamically. Get it? They're not supposed to use it at all. Adding the hair, whether it's from human being or from others, the person cannot do that. May Allah SWT grant us good. Whoever is suffering from this, let them use excessively the black seed oil. I really recommend that people should make their life based on these natural and divinely given medicines, by the Sharia. They don't have side effects, and they have very good, subhanallah, and the power by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to cure. They just need patience. I was listening to one of those people who work in San, very beautiful audio about this natural medicine, and he is talking about his experiences. Very beautiful, very excellent. But unfortunately, not everyone knows this. And we are always unfair to Sharia. When Dr. Karim or John tell you that this is the medicine, yeah, and you're proud of that. And if you go and do it, you take, and you don't get the cure, but still you give him excuse. But if Dr. Kabir, okay, a Muslim, any natural doctor, not the more than one, tells you that قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم الحبة السوداء شفاء. What do? You say, I will try. And if you take it once and you don't get the cure, what do? I don't see anything. You keep it away. SubhanAllah. That one we can take it for ages and we don't mind, and we think that's okay. But Rasulullah one, if you take once, twice, and it doesn't go, you don't become okay. You just leave it. This is also a medicine. You should keep taking. They mention a lot of experiences, people who are cured by these diseases that somebody will tell you they have no cure at all, including the AIDS. Believe it or not, including the AIDS. But you should understand, as I always mention, medicine becomes what? Business nowadays. Okay, if I'm a medical doctor, Hamza visits me. I need to fight myself to fear Allah SWT so much to give him the correct medicine. What does some of them do? I will give him the medicine, not really the correct one. Why do I do that? Because if I give him the correct one, Hamza will never come back again. What is it actually the best medicine? Remind Hamza all the time about the causes of this sickness so that he will never get it again. Do we focus on this? No, because if you do that, then inshallah everyone is not going to become sick. They have what to do, What happened? The masjid, what do you call it? Mustashfa, the hospital, we were closed, and then the businesses finished. SubhanAllah, a boy was telling me that he was sick, and the father was a medical doctor. He kept him at home. This sickness, you go to the hospital and pay 5,000-6,000 for you to get cured. But you know what the father gave him? He said he gave him, it's a medical doctor, more than medical doctor, very good medical doctor. He asked him to stay home for 3 days. He kept on giving him water, 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 water. After 3 days, the disease was gone. That 5,000 was saved. You know. What exactly we're taking in the hospital then sometimes? You know? Okay, I don't say don't go to the hospital, but trust Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam and do it. Bi-idhnillahi ta'ala, your file is going to be empty. Your visit to the hospital will be very rare. Very rare. And that's the objective actually. Not to visit the hospital. That's the objective. To do something that will prevent you from going to that place if it is not necessary. What can help you to do that? Maintaining the natural medicine. I do believe cancer is a sickness and a disease that could be cured. Use that medicine given to you by Rasulullah, which he says is a medicine for everything, and put your trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and wallahi, I have no doubt, unless if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala already decreed that you will not get cured from that, it will be gone, bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. But don't test Allah. Yeah, sometimes we do that. You test Allah. Okay, let's try and see. You do this with Allah. He doesn't need you actually. You know, medical doctor, if you say I will try and see, he will beg you. Keep being patient. It will work. But Allah, He needs you. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us to the truth. Why alcohol is forbidden in Islam? And what is the hukum on alcohol? Alcohol abuse, right? If I read it correctly. Alcohol in Islam is prohibited in Islam. Why? Because it's khamr, right? It covers the aql, it affects the aql. And when that aql is affected, then a person will be capable of doing all kinds of tragedies. That's why they said one of the objectives of Sharia is preservation of what? Aql. And whatsoever affected is prohibited Islamically. So that's why whoever drinks alcohol, the punishment is to be beaten 40 times or 80 times, according to the discretion of the leader. In the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they used to beat him 40 times. In the time of Abu Bakr, 40. In the times of Umar, also 40. At the first 2 years of the life of Umar is 40. But then people kept on drinking wine excessively. So Umar gathered the companions of the Prophet ﷺ and discussed the issue, and they agreed to make it 80 times. That was the reason why it becomes 80, taken by the majority of the scholars nowadays. So wine is prohibited. Any amount of wine is prohibited. It's not tolerated. Any amount of wine. And the scholars said it is haram to use it in everything. The alcohol that can make somebody intoxicated is haram for a person to use it in anything, including the medicine. That's why one of our scholars, he said there is no darura in medicine. You might find it strange, but if you believe in darura, in the way the scholars mention, not the darura we have nowadays, because nowadays we have the definition of darura. Everything is darura. A person takes riba, why do you take riba? Darura. Whatever he does, he tells you darura. So everything turns to be what? Darura, darura, darura. But darura means a life-threatening situation, whereby you are talking about saving the life. If you don't do it, you will die. This is what is called what? Darura. Do you get an idea? And for you to be able to take haram, to remove this darura, you have to meet two conditions. Number one, you must make sure that by taking that haram, the darura will be gone. Tell me, which medicine is like that? You're sure if you take it, the darura will be gone. Which medicine? I don't know. Maybe you guys know, but I don't know. Which medicine is like that? That you can say, yes, if I take it, I'm sure the darura will be gone. We don't have such a medicine. It's all based on try, test and try. And the rule, they said you have to make sure. That's why most of the scholars believe that if you are in a state of hunger and you realize that if you don't take something, you will die. They said you are allowed to take everything except yourself, eating yourself. You know, this one by consensus of the scholars, you cannot cut some part of you and eat it in order to survive. And also the second one is you cannot drink wine. Why wine? Not because it is wine, but because they said it doesn't satisfy a person. It might increase the possibility of your death. If the wine satisfies, they will say, take it, because we want to save you life. But they said, according to the experience, it doesn't satisfy a person. I was trying to understand how. But then I was told that those people who drink wine, they vomit. So my analysis is, if a person is about to die, he has 1 hour left, and then he drank wine, that would be like suicide, because the wine will bring the remainder of the food that is given him for 1 hour. Now the time will be only 3 minutes left for him. Wallahu alam. That is what is mentioned by the scholars. So that's the first condition. You have to make sure that it was satisfied. You have to make sure that by doing that, the darura will be gone. The second condition is you must make sure that you don't have any other alternative. This is the only thing you have. Can we claim this? Wallahi no. I do believe there is alternative. Except in few cases which I can't recall any alternative. That's why the haram is halal. Like when it comes to the surgery, they drug you, right? For you to not feel that which they do. This is haja. It's not darura, but it's haja that almost reached the level of darura. Okay, when you have some problem, may Allah SWT to protect you, and the surgeon is going to cut you and remove it. Can he just cut your stomach and do it? Can. But how is it going to be? He has to bring giants to hold you, right? And you scream, you might lose your life. You will go through pain. Likewise, when they cut off your hand, can they just do it? Yes, they can do. But you can imagine how much punishment and the pain this person is going through. And it might be the reason why his life will be gone. Although he might be able to tolerate. It happens. Some people, the medicine doesn't work. They were awake when the surgery is going on. The operation is going on. So, but since this one can reach to the level of darura, that's why scholars close the eyes. The medical doctors, they can use those kind of drugs to drug the place so that the person will not feel, because we don't have any other thing. But if we can find the halal way to make it, they have to go through the halal way. So these two conditions, we have to put them in mind. That's why any medicine that contains alcohol, you have to look for something else. And usually, because we don't ask, that's why we're given the wrong one. I remember a brother, his wife is supposed to be given that haram medicine. Alhamdulillah, he saw that it's haram, and he fought for his right in the hospital. And subhanallah, they told him at last, yes, there is another one. They gave him another one, and he read, and that one is okay. We are Muslim. Why didn't you use this at the first time? I have to look for my right. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us to the truth. So alcohol is prohibited in Islam because of the evil it contains. That's why they call it al-khamru al-khaba'ith. It's the mother of all sins. It twists the system, it turns it upside down. They mentioned that the father came back to the house, he found nobody except his daughter, and he was drunk, and he approached her. She got pregnant and she got a child. What do you call that child? His son. At the same time, he is what? His grandson. And the child to the mother is what? Her brother and a son. Twist the system upside down. May Allah want to guide those people who are taking the drugs and the wine to remember and to reflect. إنه بكل جميل كثير سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت. Smart, you have a question? I will attend to this one. Okay then.
I wanted to ask you about the story of Salman al-Farsi. So he was looking for the signs for the Prophet Muhammad
Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam.
And number one was he doesn't eat from the charity.
And he takes from the gift.
And number two, he eats from the gift. And number three, I read that there was seal in the back, and then he exposed the back
So that the man can see that, yeah.
So I wanted to ask what this seal
It's something like a pimple, like they said, مثل عرف الديك, some flesh of meat that Allah SWT to put in that place, okay, at his backside. So that was the sign for the Prophet ﷺ to be. This is what he was looking for, because it is written in the book that the Prophet ﷺ is going to come with this. So that was the thing he was looking for. So the Prophet ﷺ, when he realized that the man wants to see that, and he knows that this is from Allah SWT for people to understand, especially the Jews and the Christians, because they know that. The scholars amongst them. he can see. So when he realized that the man was looking for that, and he opens the place. Abdurrahman, I want to answer your question. From the sisters. Okay. No, we don't. Okay, not they are not Muslims. They are not Muslim, all of them. No, if she could be trusted, if she could be trusted, and there is no fear, it's better for, because according to the best opinion, a woman in that stage, she can show herself to her, if we can trust her. Because the reason why she doesn't go to the male, unless if she needs to do that, because of the fitna between them. And this one cannot be denied, because we heard a lot of these issues are taking place in the hospitals. Worse than what you can ever imagine. So that's why the scholars in the past, they said, a woman who is in a state of, sickness, she doesn't go to the male medical doctor, she goes to the female. Unless if there is no female, then she goes to the male. But when she goes to the male, she shouldn't be in a room alone with him. That's khalwa, by any means. She should go with her husband, her brother, or with another sister at least. Do you get an idea? If we have a medical doctor who is a sister, could be trusted, although she's not a Muslim, it's better for her to go for that.
So my condition, I live in a non-Muslim country where majority is Buddhist, and I attend university with them actually, and also with the monks, really, and what I do is actually because they have a way to respect like this, and then I do like this when actually they start, and after that I shake their hand, or we don't do that. But
Is
mostly
it a culture or religious?
Actually based on what my knowledge, when we do this with the monk, then this is the religious. But if we do it with the layman people, like ordinary people, then it's respect. But
Because whatever happens to be a symbol of somebody else's religion other than Islam, a Muslim has to stay away from it. Unless if your life is under threat, then you do it. So this is what I want you to just go and focus. Is it cultural practice of the people in that place? Then we look at it. If it goes against the Sharia, we stay away from it. But if something happened to be part of the religion of others, a Muslim is not supposed to be practicing it. You have to stay away from it and look for other way to respect them. And I believe in most instances these people understand. The only thing is I live with them with good manners, good attitudes, So they understand that I have restrictions in my religion. In the way I don't force them to do mine, they also do understand. But sometimes, we just see that we are Muslims when we meet them with angry face, And we have some also will go and cause problem which will come back to the rest. But I believe if we're going to show them good manners, bi-idhnillahi ta'ala, if we stay away from their religious practices, they will understand that we do have certain restrictions. SubhanAllah, I find sometimes non-Muslim in the hospital, they respect Islamic values than the Muslims in the hospital. In our places, we go to the hospital, you say non-Muslim, you tell him no, you have certain restriction, and he accepts. And wallahi, in some cases, he will offer you that, don't you want me to bring somebody to do this? And we have our brothers from the Muslims, when you tell them, please, can we have a sister to do this? Oh, you think I'm not Muslim? I'm also Muslim. My father is Muslim, my jet is, open a long file for me, So I understand that sometimes they respect us, first of all, especially when I show them good manners.
Second question, Sheikh, because I have when I attend class, I meet my friend, they say, for example, Assalamu alaikum. And based on the hadith, that when the Jew say Assalamu alaikum, and the Prophet reply wa alaikum. And is it can I reply back wa alaikum assalam, or just
This is bad. It's a controversial issue among some scholars, but I personally go with this hadith that says wa alaikum. Yes, say wa alaikum. They don't even know. Don't tell them Actually, this wa alaikum is for. They don't even know, you know. This is just a joke. I don't know whether it happens or it doesn't happen, so don't narrate it as a serious thing. I don't know whether it's true or not, but one of the students was telling us that an imam was in the house of the non-believers, their neighbor, his neighbor. You know, they lost one of them. He died. So the imam went to say condolences, you know, and they trapped him. Since he was next to them, you know, one of them died. He went to say sorry to them. So the family said, Imam, since you're Imam, please make the offering. It's like, what to do now? To say, Allahumma arhamhu, Allahumma firdaus al-a'la, or what? So he realized, according to the story, I don't know whether it's true or not, but he said he realized that these non-Muslims, they don't understand Arabic language. So that's according to the story. So he raised up his hand. He says, خُذُوهُ فَقُلُّوهُ ثُمَّ الْجَحِيمَ صَلُّوهُ. And according to the story, those ones are saying, Ameen, Ameen. You know? So Allah, I don't advise you to do the same thing if it is true, but at least you say that one. First, because there is no harm in it. At all, there is no harm in it. Because if they say the good one to you, you said wa alaikum means and you too. You know, it's good. You don't reply with the worst. You reply with the same, you know. They say wa alaikum, assalamu alaikum, you said to them wa alaikum. They say assalamu alaikum, you said to them wa alaikum. You know, if they ask good for you, you also ask good for them. So that's the safest opinion. Wallahu alam, to be on the safe side, inshallah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك اشهد ان لا اله الا انت استغفرك واتوب اليك